It was far from pretty, but the NFL doesn't award style points. The Bears, 17-13 winners over the New York Giants to go to 2-0 on the season. Small sample size, but there are some things that are becoming apparent to me about the Bears trying to develop an offensive identity. We're going to get into that and also highlight some of the contributions from some younger players that are really making an impact early on in the season. I'm Dan Durkin, and this is the All 22 Review.
So how is it possible after the Bears jumped out to a 17 to nothing lead at halftime that this game came down to literally the last play? I'll tell you how. Missed opportunities. Several missed opportunities by the Bears. What if Mitch Trubisky identifies Cordero Patterson up the seam and hits him instead of throwing the ball behind Allen Robinson? What if Anthony Miller actually makes a catch on this beautifully thrown and beautifully designed slot fade in the red zone? You can't throw a ball any better than this from Trubisky. How the Bears didn't score here, it affected them at the end of the game as well. What if Cody Whitehair gets to the second level instead of messing up his block assignment on this run by Cordero Patterson? What if Mitch stays on this read just a click longer to see Allen Robinson come open on this out route? Had nothing but green grass in front of him. What if Mitch gets his eyes off of Anthony Miller and onto Allen Robinson, who breaks leverage on this shallow crosser over the middle of the field? Allen's bounce tells you right there he was ready to catch this one and take it for something. What if Bears safety Eddie Jackson gets to this ball just a second earlier, deflects it, and takes it back for a pick six? There's no flag. This play's not coming back. All of a sudden, this game has a completely different feel down the stretch, and the Bears have a comfortable lead. And on the flip side, what if Saquon Barkley doesn't get hurt? Or what if Dalvin Tomlinson doesn't deflect this pass at the line of scrimmage? Look at the linebacker sitting there waiting in the area that Mitch threw this ball. This could very well have been an interception. It could have been a pick six. Totally different ball game if this happens. But in the end, the better team won. It wasn't pretty. Came down to the last play, shouldn't have, but there was some good and some bad that came from this game. On the good side of the ledger, I liked how Mitch extended a couple plays. It led to points, both on how he baited the linebacker in the flats and the Montgomery touchdown, how he was able to keep his eyes up on the Mooney touchdown at the end of the first half. Robert Quinn added a little bit more juice to the pass rush. I think Akeem Hicks looked a little bit healthier as well. All of that was a definite positive development for the defense. I think Mitch was a little bit more decisive in the pocket as well. I thought his reads were right, and he went, for the most part, where he should have with the football. On the bad side of the ledger, we've talked about this a little bit already. They let a bad team hang around. You can't do that. 17 to nothing at halftime. Develop a killer instinct and put this team away. Should never have come down to the last play of the game. Second, crucial drops by their playmakers. It was the flip from week one. I was patting Allen Robinson and Anthony Miller on the back for their performances. They both definitely would like to have had this game over, whether it was not coming back to the football on an interception or dropping passes. Got to make a play in the end zone, Anthony Miller. Help your quarterback out. He's struggling. He needs you to make plays for him in those situations. Mitch's ball placement was erratic as well. Another thing, passes behind. Right read again, but lead people with their upfield shoulder. Put it in a position to where they don't have to contort their body back and keep their momentum going. Far too many situations where guys had to flip their momentum and flip their hips around to get the ball. Put it on target. Allow your receivers to keep running with the ball after the fact. We're only 2 weeks into the season. It's a small sample size. I get it. But as is the title of this episode, the Bears are developing a new identity on offense. And it's refreshing. It's needed. This is something that I've asked Matt Nagy and Mitch Trubisky about a lot. What does this offense do well? What is it that you can hang your hat on? And I never really got a straight answer. And so I think a lot of this has to do with the new coaches that have been brought in. John DeFilippo, Bill Lazor, Juan Castillo, because this offense has a much different feel from a formation perspective. Something as subtle as the amount of snaps that Mitch is playing under center means something. It's meaningful in a bunch of different ways. If you compare and contrast where this team was last year, they were shotgun heavy. They were shotgun on rundowns. They were shotgun on passing downs. That was their default. Shotgun doesn't force a quarterback to work on his footwork as much. They can be a little bit loose with that. And people need to realize The timing of a quarterback's drop is tied to the break of a receiver. So when you're under center, it makes a difference. It allows that timing to occur a little bit better. So that's one thing that I've noticed. It looks like the timing has been a little bit more crisp as far as when Mitch is at the top of his drop under center, the breaks are there, and so the ball can come out on time. The other piece is the play action game. The play action game was a non factor last year. The Bears were the NFC's least explosive offense last year. They ranked 30th in both passes and rushes and 31st in overall total explosive plays. That's not going to get it done in today's NFL. Again, it's early on, but you're starting to see the Bears generate explosive passes and explosive runs at a higher rate than they were last year. Check out this chart here. So you have explosive runs, which are defined as carries of 10 or more yards, and explosive passes are 18 or more yards. So far into the shotgun, 3 explosive runs, 2 of those were scrambles, so keep that in mind. 6 explosive passes. Flip it to under center, 6 explosive runs under center, and 3 explosive passes under center as well. And there's another thing to keep in mind here. Those 3 explosive passes from under center were all off of play action. So the Bears have something going with this, and they need to stay committed to it because the offense has a different feel to it. Trubisky's going to operate a little bit differently there under center. It's going to benefit everybody in the offense. You have a little bit more speed at wide receiver now with Mooney. As you get those linebackers to bite and respect the run a little bit more, they're going to be able to stretch the field much differently than they could last year. Let's wrap it up here with a nod to the youth movement. 4 players in particular have caught my eye over the first couple weeks of the season. Left guard James Daniels, running back David Montgomery, right cornerback Jalen Johnson, and wide receiver Darnell Mooney. Check out some of their highlights from this past weekend's game against the Giants. First up's David Montgomery on his touchdown catch. Love how he stays with Mitch here on this play. Gives a little hand here to let him know he's open. And then from here, it's just speed, open field vision to take this one to the house and get the Bears their first touchdown. This play, Darnell Mooney coming up play action. Again, running the safety off, respecting the speed, has to come back. I think he's going to pop one of those long. Mooney again, and here this one stays with Mitch. Scramble drills in effect, so he goes long. That's typically how the rule works. Comes back, works his way to the ball. Touchdown Bears. Love the punch and the snap of the hips here on James Daniels to create some room in the A gap. Again, on this play, watch him extend, get some movement here on the outside zone play, doing exactly what he needs to do, and gets a little pancake here at the end. Movement again, combination block creates a big hole in the here in the A gap for David Montgomery to follow through. Here's Montgomery and Daniels on display. Daniels makes a way up to the second level, gets a little pancake, and Montgomery is able to get on track and get up the field. Switching over to Jalen Johnson. This is a cover 3 robber zone look from the Bears. Watch him read the quarterback's eyes, work his way around to get in front and deflect the ball. Johnson's at the top of the screen on this cover 1 robber look again. He's going to stay with the receiver, pattern match with him on the breaks. Another PBU, his 4th of the season. Strong start of the year for all 4 of these guys, and you like to see it. Thanks again for tuning in. Thanks for the patience. Got a lot going on, but I love getting to these. So episode 2 of the All 22 review is a wrap. I'm Dan Durkin. We'll catch you guys next week.